Happy Sunday, happy Sunday, happy Sunday. It is Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Sunday of, you've guessed it, the Success Starter series. Y'all know we go live each and every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about different topics that are all around the ultimate topic of helping you to set your week up for success. Because in setting your week up for success, you're also doing the work to set your life up for success. And as your productivity and accountability coach, I'm all about empowering women to find that hidden time in their day, time that they can use to pour back into themselves to pursue their goals, their purpose, and their life passions while still maintaining your current responsibility. Because it's all about transforming your life while still maintaining and being the person that you're looking to be and showing up in the ways that you're looking to show up. And as we've been going through the month of November, we have been talking all about falling back into you, making sure that you're prioritizing yourself in the midst of the holidays, the holiday season, and all that jazz. And as we continue in that vein and continue in that topic and continue in that conversation, we're going to be talking about gratitude and self-care because this is Thanksgiving week after all. And so as we go into the week and it's the last full week of the month, like literally last 7 days of this week, I want to make sure that as you are being grateful and showing gratitude, you're still prioritizing yourself in the midst of it. And so I want to kind of talk about today how gratitude and self-care is a power combo. It's a dynamic duo that keeps you grounded, and in so staying grounded, it keeps you at the forefront. It helps you to fall back into you. It helps you to prioritize yourself. So we're bringing the theme and the topic for the month full circle with that and in that. And so I want to talk through the lens of course, the Lee method. Look, examine, and execute. We're going to go through 3 different points kind of to talk about gratitude and looking at gratitude as you kind of like journey through and look through the lens of this month. And so to kick it off, I want to talk first about gratitude as a productivity tool, because when it comes to gratitude, sometimes you think that appreciation is for the other person. No, appreciation is for you. Because in taking the time to be appreciative of what it is you have, what it is that you've done, it will allow you to shift your perspective. And y'all know the phrase they say all the time. If you change the way you think, if you change the way you look at things, if you change the way you think about things, then the things themselves will change. And perspective is all about the way you're looking at it. So if you're shifting the perspective, i.e. shifting the way you're looking at things and finding a way to be grateful in the midst of it, in that thing, it can help you in this perspective shift, to reduce your stress. And in reducing stress, so like if we can lower your stress, we can boost productivity. Not just specifically by reducing stress. But what I mean by that is like in reducing stress, you often will feel more motivated. And if as a result you feel more motivated, you're able to do more, show up more, have more energy, do more. And so that's how gratitude can be a productivity tool. Because in changing your perspective and changing your mindset around what it is that's happening to you, for you, and around you, you're able to look at it as a positive thing. Then as a result of it being a positive thing, you're empowered by it. And empowerment is the thing that gives you that motivation, gives you that drive, gives you that desire to move. And so when we look at the L in the Lee method, look, that perspective is change the way you look at things, think about things, and change the way that things are. It will help you to get more done. And as a result of getting more done, you are hopefully in the midst of this prioritizing yourself. Because when you can focus on and look at and think about what's actually going right, then you'll be more willing to do more. Let me think about it. Like, if you think about the things that are going right, if you think about the things that are going good, you're coming at it from this positive mindset and this positive space. And with that, you won't have necessarily that thought pattern of scarcity, that limiting belief, those thoughts or feelings of less or less than or lack. Because you're looking at it from the place of I can, I will, and I did. And so there's abundance in that. There's gratitude in that. There's more in that. Because this shift, like I was saying, is going to give you that energy and it's going to give you that motivation to show up, to excel, and to do. And as a result of that, having this gratitude overall is going to help you to do more going forward. And it's going to help you to feel motivated, empowered, able to do what's next. And then if you look at that lens, if you look at it from that lens, when you start thinking about what's next, you'll be more willing to dive deeper, i.e. look at that examination phase in the Lee method. And with that, you can start thinking about the second point. You can start looking at it, you can start thinking about this gratitude practice that you're ultimately building. And when you think about a gratitude practice, there are many different ways to have, create, embody, and do this gratitude practice. But when I think first about a gratitude practice, because I've tried a whole bunch of different things, and generally speaking, I don't stick with them. I am generally a grateful person. I'm able to look for the lesson, look for the blessing in things that go through. But like, for example, right behind here, I have a jar that I've been folding up, putting papers in to like do the gratitude practice where at the end of the year, you look over the good things that have happened. And for the most part, I put like the big things in there. Like if I remember something big, I try to drop it in there. And the reason it's in here is because I come into my office every day, so I'm more likely to see it because it's right beside my diffuser. But I don't do it every day. One year I tried it to where every day I tried to put a piece in there, like of something good that happened that day. I fell off on that because then I was like, not that there's not something good that happens in every day, but it would be something little like, got to work on time. And that's not to say that I get to work late, but like there wasn't traffic or something like that. Like it was a smooth ride to work. It started to be, for me, it felt more mundane to look for that gratitude to put in a jar as opposed to just living in the moment and being grateful in the moment. And so when you shift to the examination phase, creating this personal gratitude practice can be a journey. Because just like I've gone through different iterations of having a gratitude practice and figuring out what works for me and what works best, I've gone through different things, but ultimately I've kind of settled on just being grateful as a whole. Because in doing these different things and doing these different practices kind of helped me to continue to stay in that mindset, into that space of looking for the lesson, looking for the blessing in what's happening and what's happening and what's going on in life. But when I think about like a gratitude practice or a gratitude ritual, you have to find what works best for you. I know there are some people who like every day they write down 3 things they're grateful for, and it could be something small as, my pre-workout, my glass of coffee, my whatever it was. And I'm not knocking any of that. But again, just like with my coaching, just like when it comes to productivity, you have to find what it is that works for you. For me, that felt tedious. It didn't feel like gratitude for me. Whereas now, and give it could be from the act of me trying these different practices to find what it is that now I can just go through life and go through the day and be like, ooh, thank you for that. Ooh, I'm glad about that. Oh, I'm appreciative of this. I'm appreciative of that. Whatever the case may be. And then being sure to note some of those bigger moments to look back at the end of the year. Because when you start thinking about what's to come, i.e. looking at the future, looking at what's to come, and as we go through the end of 2024 and we start thinking about 2025, even thinking about what's to come for the year, sometimes those things can be, looking back on them, you can be like, oh, that did happen this year. It felt so much longer ago, or things like that. And so when it comes to this gratitude practice, the ultimate goal of it is to build gratitude into your daily life. It's for you to look for that lesson, look for that blessing in the things that you go through. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It could be something as simple as you have a notebook where you write down things, where every morning or every evening you write down a couple things, where you make a sticky note, or you put it in a jar that you're going to read at the end of the year, where every weekend, for sure, on Saturdays and Sundays, like I journal. So sometimes it's just in that practice where I'm thinking about the week, i.e. on Saturday, like, okay, what am I grateful for? Then on Sunday, it's like, okay, help me to set the tone for the week to come, and look at it from that gratitude practice in that way. But whatever it is you choose, the ultimate thing is that it has to be something that you're able to stick with. It doesn't have to be complicated. It shouldn't be complicated, because often it's in the complexity where you shut down. Just like when it comes to planning, just like when it comes to productivity, you feel that it's so complicated that you can't do it and you don't stick with it. But that's not the reality. And so something as simple as, like I said, writing down 3 things that you're grateful for each day, keeping a jar, a box, or whatever you want it to be, of those bigger moments that you remember, like, oh, I won a trial, I got this motion granted, I got a promotion, I got a raise, the warranty covered this fix on my car. I didn't have to pay for it. Somebody paid for my groceries. Whatever these, things are in life that happen, these bigger moments, the smaller moments, whatever it is that you want to celebrate, do so. Because in finding these moments to be grateful, to express gratitude, it can help set the tone. Just like I talked about, like my gratitude practice of Saturday and Sunday. Like I'm wrapping up the week on Saturday, and on Sunday I'm starting the new week. It's all about, for me, being mindful, being intentional, and setting the tone for what I want to be a productive, not only day, but productive week. It's in these pausing, it's in these moments where we pause and we acknowledge the good, no matter how big or small it is, that you're doing that examination work. You're taking that deeper dive, because in that deeper dive of gratitude, you're taking care of self. Because in those moments where you pause to say, I'm grateful for this, or I'm appreciative of this, you're often looking at ways that others have poured into you. Like if someone paid for something for you, if this warranty covers something, like it benefited you. And in the benefit to you, it ultimately was a moment for you to pause and say, like, I'm thankful for this. I'm grateful for this. I'm thankful for the way that these people have shown up for me in this time. I'm appreciative of how this looks. And even in these moments where we look for this gratitude and we take the time to find gratitude in things, it can also be things that you've done for others and seeing the way that it affected them and the way that they responded to it. But it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be a combination of the two. What's important is that you were appreciative. You were grateful for that thing, because you're looking for those moments you are looking for those moments of gratitude for self. It's not about me. It's not about anybody else. It's about you. And so what you might find gratitude in might not be something that I might not automatically find gratitude in. It's those little things that oftentimes make a big difference. It's those little things that you might not think anything of, oh, I left the quarter in the car at Aldi, whereas this person might have been down to their last, they had enough for groceries, but they had no, they had a gift card for groceries, but they had no cash, and so they didn't have a way to carry their groceries. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. But it's often in those little moments, not even the big moments, that the biggest impact is had. So taking that time to create your own personal moments of gratitude and making it a practice that you do consistently, habitually, as you develop the habit, is important. But no matter what, you have to find what it is that works for you, because what works for me might not work for you. And just like I said, I've done various variations, which is kind of what I bring into my coaching, in finding what it is that works for you when it comes to productivity and when it comes to building a schedule and having a life that you want, that you're happy with. You have to find what it is that works. And the things that might have worked for gratitude in the past might not in this season work. You can't look for those giant moments, because maybe you're not in this quote unquote winning season, and you need to look for those smaller moments of, I woke up on time. I slept through the night. I had, a great day at work. My coworkers left me alone. Maybe you want to be left alone and people are always bothering you, and so you happy when people leave you alone. Whatever it might be, look for it. Do that work and do that dive, to do that examination, to dive a little bit deeper to figure out what it is. Because in that, you're then able to move on to that last E in the lead method, that execution phase. And that execution phase is all about that ultimate game plan of how it is that you're showing up in the end, in the long, short, and in the completion of the thing. And so when you think about, okay, if we're talking gratitude and we're talking self-care, if we're talking about the way that these two things are going to work together to give me this power combo, this 1-2 punch, to keep me centered, to keep me grounded, we have to look at what it is we're going into. Like I said, it's Thanksgiving week. There are people who are going to be around family. There are people who might not be able to be around family. There are people who might not have family. People who don't even like their family. Whatever the combination thereof might be, that you have to make sure that in being grateful and in being appreciative, you're still ultimately taking care of self, because the ultimate thing, that ultimate execution, is about you being able to maintain you in the midst of the holidays and in and through these holidays. So when you think about like maintaining self-care through the holidays, for example, what is it that you need to go through this holiday season? You know what you are or aren't doing, what plans you do or don't have, for not just Thanksgiving week, but even as you start thinking about Christmas, going into New Year's, and going into the new year itself, What does that look like? Because the holidays, they can be hectic. Um, but in this season, it's also a time where you can focus on, prioritize, and make sure that you're aligning with the things that really matter to you. Because the whole theme and the whole point of this month was about prioritizing self and falling back into you to make sure that you're showing up in the way and in the spaces that you want to. Because if you're only showing up in the ways and the spaces that others want to, you're not taking care of self. You're not prioritizing you. You're not pouring back into you. And you're going to be at this place in this space to where you're stressed out, you're overwhelmed, and you're going through these phases in this season of life not in the best headspace. And I get that there are going to be things that you can't control necessarily within this time frame. But if we go back to the first thing of looking at gratitude as the productivity tool, as in that perspective shift, you can. You can't control necessarily what happens, but you can control how you respond. So you might can't control the act, but you can control your reaction. And it's in your reaction, in your perspective, and in your mindset to where you're able to then flow through to maintain you in this season. And so as you go into and go through this season, you have to make sure that you're staying connected to what it is that's important to you. You have to make sure that you're staying connected to your needs. You have to make sure that you're staying connected to your priorities. Because it's in these things, because again, holidays can be hectic. I was talking about it a little bit on Clubhouse earlier today. We were talking about, I forgot what we were talking about. We were talking about something. I forgot what the theme or the topic was we were talking about on Clubhouse. But essentially, we were kind of talking about like holiday season, for example. Oftentimes, the stress and overwhelm comes from poor planning, lack of planning. And I get that there are going to be times where you plan, but unexpected things happen. But some things you can kind of prepare for. For example, the holiday season is often a bigger travel time. So whereas you might normally get to the airport 20 minutes before boarding, during the holiday season, you might want to allocate a little bit more time to plan for that. It's going to be busier. And so whereas on a random Tuesday or Wednesday in June, you might not have a line. In November and December, you're probably going to have a line, so you probably don't want to be busting up in there 20 minutes before, at boarding time or whatever. And so when you think about the season and this time, you have to think about what truly matters to you and make sure that in this execution phase, you are taking that opportunity to realign to what it is that really and truly matters to you. You have to decide, and define what that is. And in doing that, you're able to go through, grow through, and show up and to make sure that you're doing that work. And so, yes, you have to make sure that that's what it was. Thank you, Quincy. Transformative self-care is what we were talking about on Clubhouse. We were talking about transformative self-care and how to stay grounded in like these stressful times. And on Clubhouse, when we were talking about transformative self-care, we were talking about like, essentially, when you think of transformation, it's about the changes that you're making. So what changes do you need to make in the way that you take care of self? And self includes mind, body, soul, spirit, mental, emotional, financial, spiritual, all the things. And so we were talking about like the holiday times, how it can often be stressful because of travel, because of you have the same number of days in the week, but now you're trying to put more things into those days and things like that. And so when you think about how can I maintain my self-care, how can I maintain me through this season, you want to make sure that you're doing things for you. What are you doing to schedule time for self-care? What are you doing to set boundaries around your energy? What are you doing to set boundaries around your capacity? What are you doing to make sure that you're giving the best of you and not just giving the rest of you? And in giving the best of you, I'm not telling you to give all of yourself so you have nothing left for you. I'm telling you to give the best of you for self first, and then in doing that, as they get the rest of you, it's flowing together. And that might have sounded contradictory, but it's up here and it might not have came out right. Because I often talk about you don't pour from an empty cup. You give from the overflow. So you fill yourself first, and after you filled yourself, you're giving them the rest. But you're also giving them the best, because if I'm giving you from my overflow, everything that I'm giving is good. Whereas if I'm giving you the rest of me, that means we down to, I don't even drink coffee, but like the coffee grounds, what is it called? Like the dregs or whatever of the coffee, like that day old coffee. If I'm giving of the rest of me, I'm giving them the part that nobody don't really want, those leftovers. Whereas if I'm giving the best of me and giving from that overflow, I've poured into me, I've got the best. So everything that you get and that I'm also giving is the best. And so you have to make sure that as you go through this time in that execution phase of maintaining yourself, you have to use gratitude as a tool to help you not only refuel yourself, but allow it to be the thing that will help you to stay productive in, through, and for this time. The LEAD method is the method that I've created and I talk about in my book, Lee's Laws of Productivity, And the LEAD method is all about look, examine, and execute. And while I talk about it through the lens of productivity, the LEAD method is something that you can literally use for any and every area of your life. Just like we use it to talk about gratitude and self-care today, it is something that you can apply to each and every area of your life. You can use it to come up with workouts. You can use it to come up with your meal planning. You can use it for any and everything, because ultimately the LEAD method is about helping you to maximize your productivity and helping you to figure out what that looks like. So you can get the book on Amazon. If you comment the word book, I can send you the link for it. But if you're looking to work with me and walk through the LEAD method together, one-on-one coaching is all, it's for you. Like I said earlier, like in my one-on-one coaching, it's all about finding what it is that works for you. So if you're looking for that type of support outside of the book, we can get the book, we can go through the book together. I'm thinking about starting a book club in the new year, but I have to see who's really interested in doing that. But you can comment help and we can talk about what it will mean to work together one-on-one, whether that means literally walking through the book together or just doing the one-on-one coaching aspect of walking through the book together. But we talked today about gratitude and self-care, how these two things is that power 1-2 punch, that power combo that you can use to keep you grounded. We talked about how gratitude can be a productivity tool because in changing your perspective and changing your mindset, you can change your life. We talked about how you can create your own personal gratitude practice, gratitude routine, gratitude ritual, gratitude practice, whatever word you want to use, and how you can use that to fuel you and setting the tone for your days and weeks of productivity. And finally, we talked about how you can maintain self-care throughout this holiday season, especially using that transformative self-care that we talked a little bit about on Clubhouse, and how you need to make sure that you're scheduling time for you. November was all about prioritizing self and falling back into you. So as we wrap up this month, as we go into Thanksgiving week and go through Thanksgiving, make sure that you take time to be grateful and thankful for you. Look at what it is you have to be thankful for. Examine what it is that you have to be thankful for, and execute a game plan to continue to use gratitude as a practice as you go through the days, the weeks, and life. So again, if you're looking for my book, you can get it on Amazon. You can comment the word book and I can drop you the link. If you're looking for help or support in the one-on-one capacity or looking to see what that would look like, comment the word help and we can have a call, talk on the DMs about what working together one-on-one would look like. But it is Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Sunday of You've Guessed It, the Success Starter series. Y'all know we go live each and every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about different topics that are all around the ultimate topic of helping you to transform your life, maximize your productivity while still making sure you maintain and take care of self, your goals, your personal responsibilities, all the things without the overwhelm, without the stress, and without neglecting those current responsibilities. So until next week, guys, it'll be new month, new topic. We'll literally kick off, I think December 1st, with a new month, new topic. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, Coach Lee is